Right, cool. So, obviously, for simming your character correctly and to benefit with the guild vault, with the loot, the weekly vault, you need the SimC add-on. Obviously, you can get that from CurseForge or any of your add-on sites. And once that's installed, if you type in /simc, you get a pop-up window. It won't be the same as mine just because of my UI, it makes it transparent. And what you do is you copy that string into RaidBots and run it that way. But we're not going to do that just yet. If we open up the guild vault and make sure you've had your bags and character open, it'll keep this information within the SimC string. So once that's open, if you do /simc and then press return, as long as you don't click anywhere else, the text already selected. So then if you press Control C, which copies it into memory, then what you can do is you can take that over to your browser, which obviously I'm using Opera GX here, and go to RaidBots. Now we do have a premium account that I use, so obviously my simulations are a lot quicker than what it would be if you did it yourself, unless you pay for it. So then if I go to Top Gear and then in here paste in that string, it will take all my items which are here along with the guild vault, which is the GV, sorry, Great Vault, I keep calling guild vault, Great Vault items, which is the GV, and all my other items. So then what you can do is, if you wanted to go through your max currencies, you could max all these out for the upgrades. So like currently with my items, that neck, if I click the plus, I can upgrade it with the flame crests or the flight stones, but that's the maximum I can do because that's all I'm currently carrying. But if I take the worm flame crests and maximize that and my flight stones, I then get more options. The only one I don't have here is the aspect, because obviously I'm doing 16 or higher key. So I could, if I just show you that, so if I put the aspect max, I'll do the whelps max, I'll do the drake max, I'll just leave it at that for the time being. So now I can do the maximum on that. So to sim your Great Vault with all the items you currently got, if you click select all Great Vault items, it will select everything with the GV, including the one that I've just increased the stats on. So what I could in theory do, if you see this iteration at the bottom is 45, if I untick the one that hasn't been improved just yet, it now reduces down to 40. It was 45, now it's 40,000 iterations. So I could then go through every single one and do exactly the same on all of them. So I will do that now, just obviously give you the example. GVs. No, I think that was it. There's one there. Oh, yes. Trinket. So yeah. And then with that, I could just go run that simulation and it'll tell us what's the best item to get. But we don't just want to simulate that right now with just what I'm currently wearing with my guild vault. That's probably not the best way to do things. It's not the way I do things. So what I then do is select all my other items I carry as well. So obviously I'm going to add that helm. I've got a tier helm here from last season, but then I've got this helm here, which is max level. I'm going to upgrade that neck to the max, just, you know, for curiosity. We've already done that one, but we will add these shoulders in as well. Again, max it to the top, because these, you've got to think as well, future potential upgrades as well. I've already ran this sim this morning. I know what the answer is going to be. That should be the answer, because it's tier. It's top tier. Sorry, no, it's not top tier. It's one off top tier. So it will help. But I know the sim doesn't tell us to take that one. That is the option I will be taking, because tier is key. And obviously, if I get the heroic third boss item, then I get 2 sets straight away. So then obviously that will help a hell of a lot. So shoulders, cloaks. I'm not going to pick any of the. Well, no, I will pick this cloak, because these were 2 of the best ones from last season. But I can't upgrade them. I've not had any of the cloaks drop. When it comes to the chest, again, let's put it at the max. And then that one, this one can't upgrade because it's last season, but it was last season's tier. Wrists, again, had nothing, but we'll mix them up. The gloves, obviously this could be catalyst later on, not at that item level though, but we'll still play with it. Done that one. Legs, exactly the same. They're tier, they're not tier, could be catalyst later on. Rings, same with the rings, but then as you can see now, it's hit the red bracket. All that is like, I have a limit of 16 million iterations. This is going to take 23 million. So if I untick it, I'm now back to normal. It's fine that way. And all this is because obviously, as a free account, you'll have to do this multiple times, and it'll be an absolute pain. This is why the paid account is beneficial, because it is something you should use all the time, and every time you get a new item is simulate your character to go, what is the best combination I currently have. So we'll run this a few times to show you. So obviously I can't pick any other items, so as soon as I pick an item, we're hitting the max straight off, so it's pointless looking adding anything else. Now what we can then do is, as you can see, we've got an incomplete enchant, because down the bottom here, this is Death Knight. You will get different options for the class that you do play. So for me it's Fallen Crusader, so if I select that one, and then for chests I always take the weighting stats 3, and then for the legs it's been Fierce Arm is what I've been using, which is the 131 stamp and 177 strength. I know it says agility and strength, strength is what I would use on the Death Knight, so I always take that one. The verse would potentially take as a tank, and I'm not. That's key at the moment. Then for rings, obviously my stats being unholy is haste and mastery. You can select them all if you wanted, and it will simulate them all, but obviously if you do that, if I had rings selected, that would go up a dramatic amount. So an example I'll give you is, if I simulate that one, that one, that one, as you can see, it's too much. But I know by looking at Wowhead and all the other guides and the discords, that's the setup it says to use. So obviously primary stat plus haste, and it is haste mastery for my gem. I could in theory select that one as well if I wanted to mix it up a bit, because obviously they are the key stats. Haste is the key one. And then obviously these are all my talent builds that I use. I could go through and say, yeah, simulate every single one, but only simulate single target for this one. If I did want to do Mythic Plus, I would simulate with these 2 builds. I'll select the single still. But then there is an extra option to select when it comes to Mythic Plus, which is underneath this simulation options. So obviously under here you've got your fight styles, number of bosses, fight length, so on and so forth, and anything else that you could potentially get. trinkets, whatever buffs you have in your raid team or your Mythic Plus team, anything like that. So like for example, we don't have an enhancement shaman, so I could take off Wind Fury Totem. So I could just leave that off. If I did want to run this with a raid, patchwork, best for simulating single target damage, patchwork fight, that's it. If you wanted to do Mythic Plus, change it to Dungeon Slice. Obviously with a Dungeon Slice, it works out what it would be between adds and a boss. And like it's saying here, 6 minute slice of a Mythic Plus dungeon overwrite the fight length. Then check your class Discord to see the appropriate for the specs. That is how you simulate Mythic Plus. So if I put it back to patchwork, so obviously no movement, single target, one boss, 5 minute fights, standard. So I do the find sim on that. Then you get put in the queue. If you're a free account, if there is a lot of people doing this, it hits the queue. This here is the simulation. This is now running on their servers with all them little dots. So this is the stage 1 that it runs through. And what this is doing is doing the mathematical equations of, is this stat better against this item? Is that stat better against that item? And doing all the combinations. So if I selected 10 heads and nothing else, it would go right, head number 1 against that item set, get that value. Head number 2, that item set. Head number 3 with that item set. Head number 4. Because obviously we selected a hell of a lot more things, items, rings we didn't, weapons we didn't, trinkets we didn't take, but it's doing everything else. It's a lot more simulation it has to do. So obviously we're on to stage 3 there now, so that was a little bit quicker. Because I believe it does keep in memory what other people may have potentially done. So there might be someone else out there with exactly the same simulation what I'm running, so it speeds the process up a bit. So we should see this now complete, and it's now generating the report, and this is the report it's given. So whatever it's given me here, simulated with 100% key presses, because you will never ever get that figure. You'll never get that figure, because that is basically the perfect rotation and no fuck ups. It's impossible to get that. That is just giving you a ballpark figure that I could do 91k damage. With this talent build, which is the only one I selected, the raid ST, which is the raid single target, there is nothing changed, but I will show you what it will look like if it was changed. You get these squares around, golden boxes around them. So the golden boxes are change these items. So in here, it hasn't selected any of my guild vault, which I'm surprised at, which is fine. Oh, sorry, no, it has. It's picked up the trinket. So as we can see, it's got UG, which is the upgrade, because they were the ones that we upgraded everything to top tier with the crests. So it's telling me to upgrade my chest to rank 8 will be an increase using the other cloak, the fireproof cloak, and not the cloak I used originally. So, and that was a downgrade from item level, but it's obviously haste mastery is key, and then it's saying to use this trinket. I didn't expect this one to come up, but that's the example of what it would look like there. So what I will do, I'll run this again, just picking Guild Vault, and I'll run it so you can see it. Which I'll do that now in the background, because we're just, if we do this, select all grade vault, just run it. That'll be quicker in the back there. So yeah, anything with the golden bar is what it's saying, it's recommending to change to get that figure. Don't just rely on this, it's a computer. You've got to use your own research. This is just a good guide. Is it an increase? Is it not? This is why I know what I'm going to pick isn't on here, because tier is key. Getting the echo item piece, which is further on in heroic, that is going to be more beneficial to me than not taking it, because there's the chance of getting 2 set, 4 set before I even get to that boss. And it's the higher item level. So I say, golden bar is the recommended. This is your upgrades. So if I go down a bit more, obviously here is the breakdown. If I scroll down in this window, you'll see I'm seeing current set, current gear, which is here. So this is the current items that I'm using. Down here are downgrades. As you can see, this is the less DPS it's going to do of all the combinations we use. And up here is all the increases. So if we look at the top 10, so obviously it is the cloak. Using that cloak, I said that this recommended here is this top one, which is the cloak, increase the chest, and obviously that trinket. The ones it was recommending was taking this cloak, this one here. So it was taking that cloak would give us the increase that we're just seeing. Obviously, if you click in this window, it does change a lot of things. So I need to try and, if I go back down to current items, then we'll get back to where we were. So yeah, the difference here is if I take the trinket instead of everything else, it would have went from 2.1k damage increase to 2.9. So it's nearly 1k DPS that trinket provides me. The shoulders I'm going to take, which is tier, is a downgrade, but I know it's not. I'm thinking of the future, not right now. Obviously, because we're only on week 2, it does make this a bit of a pain in the backside to do. I hate simulating in week 1. I've run this many times. Like, here is me prior run with a few combinations, and there you go. Cloak, change to these, run it again. Told us not to take anything because I deliberately unselected the cloak and said just do the guild vault, but I didn't do any upgrade items, and that literally said just stay what you've got. So the current item set I have gives me 89k DPS. I know it doesn't. Doing the guild vault, as I said, we'll run the guild vault on it, the great vault on its own, see what it does. I knew it was going to say cloak. It's going to keep saying the cloak because I've done that many times, man. But it's only 786 increased DPS. It isn't really a lot for what I need to be doing, and it has crit on there. the stats aren't the greatest. It's literally the stamina, which is the big increase there for it, as opposed to what I'm currently wearing. So what I will be doing, obviously, hopefully, if I can run that again, sometimes it keeps in memory what you had selected. So here we've got a good example. So it's kept everything that was selected prior. I want to now show you, if I run the disease build in a dungeon slice and then find the top gear. This is now running it against Mythic Plus. So this is doing the Mythic Plus run. This will probably take a lot longer than what we saw on the prior ones. So while that's running, I'm just switching back to the game and taking the shoulder pieces, because I'd be stupid not to. So take that. I'll be getting a 14 key, which this week is fortified, entangling and bolstering. Take that. I will then, just for updating figures, wear it. And just log out a second. So like I said, I knew the Mythic Plus one would take a lot longer. This is where people, I think, fail on doing the Sims all the time as soon as they get loose. One thing I always do on raids is, as soon as I gain an item, I simulate it straight away. Like, is that going to be increasing me right now? Then I look, what else could I be getting, which will show that one once this is finished. I just needed to log out of the game a second. And then back in. I will be doing quite a few of these little videos of little tips and tricks, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, how do we do this, how do we do that? Just over the years of running guilds in the past, Resurgam and that, and obviously I'm not running Resurgam now, in Resurgam, but obviously the guild I am in, there probably is people in there that may benefit from this, but then they go and look at some of the videos and it's like, it's still a little bit confusing. So I do need to add as well, this is only for DPS specs. If you did this simulation as a tank, it will only simulate your tank DPS sets, not survivability. It's the same for a healer. There is other ones out there that can assist with this, which aren't the most powerfulest, but they do come in handy, which is Ask Mr. Robot, which I do use this one as well, because I like to see everything that's going on. And this, if I just log into this a second while that's running. And this isn't always 100% perfect. So let's go back to, that's still simulating. While that's running there, I will take up more of their resources and run this sim again. But then obviously that is simulating your Great Vault. Dropomizer is another one to run, and this should be done every time you've got a raid, before you start your raid, and also if you're going to do your keys that night, run it as well, because it's the same. You've got to log out with the current items that you're wearing. Sorry, you've got to run the SimC string with the set you are currently want to be wearing, is like your most recent tier, because it's not going to go through the different items like was selected earlier, because this is just going to look at the raid or the mythic plus dungeons, or all that's listed here, the catalysts, professions, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is, tonight is raid night, so I'm going to select the raid. We will probably be doing normal. I know a lot of my here outstrips normal, so what I always do is look at heroic 4 out of 5. And the reason I do that is, it may not be upgraded there and then, but I should have the resources to upgrade them in my bag. So if I select the heroic, this is all the items that will drop for a death knight. Unholy spec, I could go off spec and it will bring in tanking ones as well. I could include the catalyst items, so that's going to look at, so if I untick it, obviously we have a helm here. There's the shoulders that I took from the vault, so it graded out. But if I can click on include catalyst items, obviously the helm changes to the, I don't know why it's selecting that, because that is the tier helm. It doesn't make sense. I think what it's doing is taking, because it's a helm, you can't catalyst it, because still early on they haven't coded it correctly. Like if it's tier, it doesn't get catalyst. That's probably the same as well. But anyway, I don't change any of these options. I don't really put off spec in, not for raid, and I don't do it for tanking either in dungeons. So we do the heroic, run Dropomizer. This then, with my current items that I am wearing, because there will probably be no change from now until tonight when we raid. And again, like I say, we probably are raiding normal, but I'm running as heroic because there's the off chance that we'll be doing heroic, because obviously that is going to be the future. We'll be spending more time in heroic than we will in normal. So I run this. Currently, the guild I'm in, we have killed the first 3 bosses. We didn't go to the 4th one just for the length of time it took on the Sunday, which is fine, but obviously that's good movement, that's good progress that we have there. We'll probably get 6 bosses this week, and we'll take it from there. So if I let this run, and then at least I can give you that example of exactly what it is we see on the raid. Again, do the same on a dungeon. The dungeon one I do prefer, because obviously the Mythic Plus items are key. It's one reason why I sort of disagree with Mythic Plus, because if you're raiding, that should be the best items for you. But obviously with the keys, it changes slightly. But the new upgrade system they've done, I do like. I didn't at first, but I actually do. I don't mind it. Now I've seen it. I read about it, and I was in two minds. Now I've seen it, I think, yeah, actually that it isn't too bad. It does make sense how they've done it, and it does help people catch up a lot quicker. So I'm sort of happy with that. Just grabbing a few things in the game while that's simulating. I say a lot of the simulating stuff, like currently you say that's simulating. I'm currently playing the game, just getting where I need to be, get all the quests I need to pick up for the week. And it is a long process doing the simulation, but you will gain from doing this. It's a key thing. Plumbing down that. Back to the browser. While that's running, I'll just see, because I've just took the key from Ask Mr. Robot. I'm just curious if... No, it didn't, that's fine. So while that's run, this is the Ask Mr. Robot one, so I can do the best in bags, and these are all the specs that I've set up for myself. So obviously I've got a single target raid, multi-target raid, single target Mythic Plus, and then obviously blood specs here, and they're all pre-set up. I never use it for the DBS. The tanking, I use it as a guide because it's just the off chance that I may tank. I don't remove items, I keep all the items that I have, and you see how quick that is. So this is saying change your shoulders, change your cloak, change them trinkets. That's wrong. If I click on the single target Mythic Plus, that's the item it's telling us to use. Multi-target, it's telling us to use that. Blood, the tanking spec, it's telling us to use that. The golden padlock is don't change that item, that's staying where it is. It's literally all that is. That's what they are. I do recommend using this as a healer because it can help you a bit, because you might be surprised at things that you have in your bag which will improve you a bit more. So like the only key one I can see that'll definitely change is obviously them shoulders. It's telling us to use the shoulders, it's just because I've upgraded them. That's literally all it is. And it's only telling us to take the legs, so I keep my 4-set bonus going on the previous set. It's literally all that's doing. But yeah, it is handy, it isn't handy, but this is mainly aimed at the healers and the tanks. That's what I would say. It gives you a better example. So like that Dropomizer, which is running here, which will come out in a second, here's their version of it. So it's got the blood spec. This will do raids and dungeons at the same time. So if I say, oh, it's mythic, I'll do mythic 16 because I don't agree with doing the vault ones because it is really lucky to get that. Obviously you can set these settings up here. See, it's just a quick overview on this one. Do find best and slot. That's all the items it's saying to use. So obviously we know that's the best item. It's selected mythic plus the mythic because I stupidly had mythic selected there. So I'll take that. That's actually telling me to use that weapon instead of what I'm currently using, which is a blacksmithing item. As it says, is the drop location crafted blacksmith at the bottom there. Obviously 4 set of the new tier. that boss dropping in the neck. I'm just trying to find where it's got a dungeon. Raid, dual crafting. So yeah, a lot of these is just coming from raid. Nothing from Mythic Plus. But what I can do, unselect that, run that again. So obviously I'm just removing the hero item sets. So it's gonna make a liar out of this. So that ring has come from Brackenhold on a Mythic 16 to get that item. Doesn't seem, I think I'm sure Mythic 16 is a lot higher item level than that, but there's the example. That's how quick it is to run that. But we'll go back to the Drop Miser. This is for tonight's raid. This is what I would look at as a guide. If I do it in boss order, so the first boss in Heroic, it's telling me get that weapon, which I've already got. I just haven't upgraded it to that level. It is the Heroic item as well, because obviously there is the chance that it could be the 4 to 5 Heroic. Obviously, and that's a 1.5% DPS increase. That's what the little minimum values below. If it's greyed out, you've either got it, like that one. It's saying I've got it. What was that? No, that's a catalyst for the legs that drop in there. That's why that's in there. So that's why it's like, don't bother with them ones. But again, because it's tier is key. And some it doesn't tell you to take the tier items, and that's why you've got to use your own judgment. I'm just trying to find an example of one. None of the marks, obviously I'm simulating Heroic, and it has changed since last week. But if I just scroll down that little bit more, this is the top DPS increases for each item. So what I'm wearing against that item, so this helm is a 7k DPS increase, and that is probably because it'll become 2 set. If I just got the chest on its own, it's 6k. The gloves, 6k. So you see, that's what I was saying, you've got to look into these properly. Don't just rely on what the computer's telling you. Say, there's the weapon. I know that's one of the best weapons. It's a 2.5k increase. This trinket was what it was. And there is what we got from the Great Vault, that item, from the amalgamation chamber. Obviously I can't see what that was now unless I click back on here. So getting the amalgamation, the elemental pocket trinket, which was in the Great Vault, is a 1.5k increase. Again, I need to look into that a bit more, whether it is or not. It probably is when I get me embellishments, but a lot of things I need to change, but I'm not getting items I need a neck replacement, so then I can change the gear that I need to change, which is getting my embellishments in there, which I've got one ready. As soon as I get a decent neck, I'll be getting rid of it and getting the waist crafted, because obviously the waist is an embellishment as well, but I will be using that for tanking because it is a really good one. So yeah, that's how to simulate your characters. As I say, that's doing the Great Vault, simulating simulating the Great Vault is the same as simulating a character as normal. Just obviously the Great Vault's not there. Use all items, simulate it, you get the same style results. That's simulating the raid. Simulate the Mythic Plus. What is the Mythic Plus that you do? They give you a ballpark figure. What vault could you potentially be getting? So if you're doing 15s, stick it at 15. If you're doing 17s, 17. If you're in a group that can only do 11s, 10s and 11s, simulate a 10. Give you that rough idea, because you can't upgrade these items. So select it, run it, and it'll just go and do its background tasks. Tell you what's, well, I don't know if this will be quicker. It may be quick, it may not be. No, I don't think it is going to be quicker, but it gives the example. So hopefully that's helped you and gives you the understanding that you needed for simulating a character. Find out how to improve your DPS, what's the best items to get, just forward thinking, because that's what you use this tool for, is mapping out what to try and aim for. So don't just come to the night where, oh yeah, that looks awesome, but it might actually be a downgrade for you. Give yourself that heads up, or even if you look at it and go, no, I've got like 10 item levels higher there on that item, and no one wants it and it's going to get disenchanted, you may actually benefit from that because of the upgrade system. So it could be a key thing to keep in your bag, which is why I'm saying simulate before going in. Get your knowledge, your idea on what is the raid items you need to target, what is the Mythic Plus items you need to target, and then take it from there. And when you get an item, repeat the process. Just repeat the process. It's not going to affect you playing the game. Run in the background. As this is running, I've just been sitting at the Great Feast getting ready for that starting. It's a background task. It's not using your PC to run these. You can run on your own PC, but it's you're paying for this, or you're using the free one, which will take a lot longer. Do it. You will benefit from it massively. So obviously, like I say, that's how to simulate a character. Drop a miser, Great Vault. So yeah, hope that helps you get to where you need to be.